All right, today's it. Today's the day. We all knew this day was coming. Say goodbye to Whitey as we know it. Because we got some modification we're going to do to it today. Starting today, I think it's going to be a 3 or 4 part video. We're going to make this sled look completely different, handle completely different, and do a couple things that pretty much no one has ever done before. So let's take some measurements so we can really see the changes that we're gonna make today in today's video. There's gonna be more coming, and this thing's gonna be a brand new sled by the time we're done with it. We are gonna start by taking some measurements here, start with that so we can really see the changes that we're about to make with this thing. Alright, starting at the front, we have the 38-inch kit, of course, in the front end, the old style kit. Front bumper is sitting 18.5 inches off the ground. The front gusset on the tunnel, on the running board that is sitting 11 inches off the ground, and the rear gusset in the very back is sitting 18 inches off the ground. So after we make our changes, let's see how these numbers change for us here. So we finally got our hands on a 36-inch front end kit for our M8. Not a new one, this one was a used one, but you know what, the price was right, got a good deal on it. It's too bad the spindles are green. That's the only thing, but whatever for the price. I guess we'll have to run green spindles, even though green is ugly. I do not have the shock spacers for this front end. And I do have a video somewhere of me rebuilding those shocks. I don't teach people how to do it because you need a lot of special tools to do it, and they can be kind of dangerous to do if you don't know what you're doing. So I don't teach people how to rebuild those shocks, and I don't have the tools on hand, and I don't have those spacers. So the purpose of those spacers is actually to shorten the stroke on the shock. So it actually makes the shock a little bit shorter. You're actually supposed to shorten up this shock, but we're not going to be doing that. Now the consequence of that is that this tie rod, we actually will be making some changes to this tie rod to accompany the installation of our front end kit. So this tie rod, when this shock is too long, will actually contact it. So that's the issue. So with that front end kit, so with those other parts we have, it's fine right now, obviously, because this is the old style kit. So we are going to find a workaround for this because I want this sled to sit high. I don't want it's kind of going to be like an elevation kit a little bit. So I want this tall shock in here. I want to keep that shock nice and tall because I want the sled to end up to be a whole bunch taller, and it'll just handle the way I want it to that way. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna quickly take apart the whole front end on this thing, get the skis off, get the spindles off, get the shocks off, get the tie rods off, get the A-arms off. So I'll just do that real quick here, and we will move on to the challenging part, which will be installing this kit. Installing it a special way, I should say, because the kit actually isn't that hard to install. It's the shock rebuilding part that you have to send the shock away, or to someone like me who knows how to do it, but I don't have the tools, so we're not going to be doing it. Alrighty, so we have the front end just on the right side of the machine completely removed, tie rod end and all. Tie rod and all. Pretty easy to do. No hang-ups, didn't expect any here, just pretty much undoing bolts. We don't even actually have to deal with this connection here. There's a trick to that. I can show you guys the trick to getting these off if you want me to at some point. Those can actually kind of be a little bit of a pain if you've never done one or don't know what you're doing. So we actually have a shorter tie rod here that I'm going to throw in, not right now, afterwards, after I get the complete front end kit installed. So we'll just do one side here and we'll go over it real quick. Because we're not installing this kit the way it was intended to be installed. We're doing something else. So here's where the question mark is going to be, and where we're probably going to have to do a little bit of customization. Let's go over here, grab our new used parts. I'm going to install the right on the right side and obviously the left on the left side. So these are the new Wishbone, or these are the same spindles they use today. And these are like the old Procross spindles that they put on their race sleds at the time, and cross-country sleds, and they kind of just made a mountain chassis, and they didn't change these. They changed these in 2016. So you can actually get the kits to upgrade your 14s, 12s, 12s are a little different, 13s, 14s, 15s, to upgrade that. You can buy these kits still. Of course, I bought one used because I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So you can see, like, these really struggle in the snow that's a little mushy. These are real strugglers. Snow that's hard. As soon as the snow packs up against that, just it's like an anchor in the front end. But these move through the snow a lot better. So we'll pop that in real quick here, and we'll see what we have to do. There's definitely going to be a little bit of stuff we got to change here. So I'm just going to throw in this kit right here on the right side, and we can actually just look at one side compared to the other that way. So here's the point where I'm pretty sure that we are going to start running into issues, and I've got my measuring stick out. Of course, the front end kit isn't fully installed yet, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, this is just a dry install, so nothing has been bolted down yet. There is the new front end with the shock installed, and there is the old front end with the shock installed as well. Of course, we don't have the tie rod in. The boot's just hanging onto the A-arm. Like it should be right now. Here's where we're going to start running into issues with our steering. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see, but the camber is way out on this one, which is okay because we actually have an adjustment nut up here, so we can correct the camber, not a problem. But the way everything is that we're sitting a little bit higher, which isn't a bad thing. I really like it. So if we look on this spindle, right to the center, we'll say, what about 5 inches? Now if you look this one's going to be close to the ground. So on this one, we have 4 inches, actually even less than 4 inches. So we're like 1.25 inches close to the ground, which means our unit is going to be about 1.25 inches higher. But the camber isn't where our problems end with this this particular setup. What we have is going to be an issue here, as I'll show you with this. I got a couple different tie rods here. This one is slightly bent, but I'll tweak it and bend it back. So because of this narrowing kit, it's actually not that big of a difference, but there is a little bit of a difference in the tie rod size, because a problem we're going to run into here is that when I go to install this tie rod, of course it'll be threaded onto there. Well, from what I heard, it's actually going to contact the lower A-arm because of the shock being too long now. It brings that further down, but that doesn't really make sense, does it, when you think about it? So, holy crap, we may actually be able to get away with the stock tie rod and the stock shock without rebuilding it to that shorter stroke. This is just ice on here. That's not pitting or nothing like that. It's just ice. Holy crap, this might just actually... Wouldn't that be nice if it just went together with no problems and we end up with like a lifted unit that we didn't have to put any real customization into. Well, I'll keep going and see what it does. Hopefully it just... Man, wouldn't that be nice if it just went together? my gosh, this just might work. Things are going surprisingly well. You can really see the angle of the A-arms here, right in the front. How much we're really changing the geometry, not just the width, but the geometry of our suspension entirely. So I don't even know if I'm gonna have to do any modification here. I'm not gonna know really until I get the other side done. So that's all installed except for the boot, and the tie rod is loose, but it is all installed. And I'm gonna just pop this side together real quick here, and then we'll look at the result and see what actually needs to be modified here, because I have a feeling there's got to be something. That was too easy. I thought something wasn't supposed to fit. I've installed this kit with the rebuilt shocks lots, but I've never installed this kit with the tall shocks. So something here's got to change. Something's like there's got to be something we're gonna run into. Like there has to be something we're gonna run into. We're even using the stock tie rods. I'm gonna do that real quick, and we'll look at the result. We'll see where we're at. There's always one that causes a problem. Don't look, you guys. Just shut your eyes. I did that other side just to save the pain of doing it again on camera, because it's the exact same thing that I did to the first side. So let's take a look at where we're at here. So we have our front end kit kind of mostly in, and you can see actually just by looking at it like that we got you can't really tell as much with the wide angle I'm using, but we have a wicked towed in problem here, as well as a wicked camber offset. You can actually see that one pretty bad. That one's not as aggressive. This one's got some wicked camber going on, which we can adjust with this here, so no big deal. I don't have the boots on, obviously, because we still have some work to do, but here was the problem that I expected to have, and here we're having it. So this side is actually okay. When you turn, the A-arm is just barely connecting with the tie rod there. So I'll show you the other side, because the other side's a little more aggressive. So when I turn, like that's actually as far as it'll turn right there. So there's a couple ways we can get around this. We're actually going to be only replacing one tie rod, so we're gonna have one long one, one short one. And we can actually cheat that with this adjustment up here. I think maybe one of the reasons that this side actually has a lot more clearance than the other is because this steering post doesn't actually go right down the middle of the sled. If you look, it actually mounts to pretty much right here. This is actually the nut that I'm touching right there, and then it goes into an arm, and then it goes back and forth. That or something tweaked on my sled. That could be it too. So this side actually has a little more clearance than the other side, but that's okay. I was actually prepared for this. So we'll do the camber on the skis real quick here, and then we'll move on to the alignment. So we have that Loctited and all reinstalled. Skis still got a little bit of a tilt going to it, but not near as aggressive as it was. Sure that this still had enough threads in it holding it to the upper A-arm, because I know somebody's going to complain about that. Oh, you really got any threads holding that in? No, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. God damn, you do one thing and all the YouTube mechanics come out of the woodwork, huh? Never mind me doing this for a living for 10 years. I saw that on a video in poor quality at a weird angle, and I could just tell it wasn't right. Like somebody commented on the PHAZER, your clutches look out of a line. Now, how in the hell can you tell that my clutches look out of a line just by looking at them at a 45-degree angle from a video? Like, you're talking clutch alignment, you're talking tens of thousands, like a a 30,000th of an inch. Like, you can't tell that just from looking at a video. I can't see it. I looked at my if I look at my clutches, I look at them like, are they aligned? I don't know. I'd have to check with the alignment bar. Man, the YouTube mechanics, they just know everything. All right, things are looking pretty good here. So what we have to do now is we have to grab our shorter tie rod, and we're gonna do a little bit of cheating here. I'll actually be able to get an alignment out of that side if I cheat it with our other alignment bar up here, our other tie rod up there, and then I have a shorter one with a riser I'm gonna put on that side. This sounds kind of ragtag, but you'll never know the difference just by looking at it, what I did. You're only gonna know if you friggin' buy this thing off me in 10 years and be like, what happened? Wow, this thing is sitting significantly higher now. I don't know if you can see it on the camera so much, but me standing here looking at it, this thing is sitting so much higher. And no, we're not done with it. We're gonna get it to sit higher yet. We have our skid relocation going. I didn't go as crazy with it as I was going to, and I'll show you what's going on here, what I'm doing. So my original plan was to actually drop that bolt, because there is actually another, there's two plates in here. So there is actually another one that is pre-drilled and aligned, and it comes to right about here, but it doesn't drop the skid a whole lot. So we are actually not gonna touch that, but we are going to lift up the back a little bit, and we're just going to do that by relocating it to the bottom hole there. It's been in the middle because we got a bunch more lift in the front, so if we're going to level this thing out a little bit, we'll lift up the back a little bit too. Oh, it barely even dropped. So I'm gonna do some measuring. I have a feeling that our stance is even going to be a little narrower because of the geometry of this front end and how we did not install this kit to dealer specification, to Arctic Cat specification. We did our own thing. We're actually a little bit closer to 35.5, right to the middle of the spindle. A little over 19 on our M8 here from front to back. It's like we did a lift kit in here. So the ski stance, our old ski stance was 38 inches. We are now 35.5. Our front bumper was sitting at 18 inches off the floor. We are now sitting at a little over 19 inches. Our front tunnel gusset was sitting at 11 inches. We are just under 12 now. Our rear tunnel gusset was sitting at 18 inches, and we are now just a little over 19. So it's pretty much a lift kit all around for this thing. That's all it is, a lift kit. We went up basically an inch, like an inch plus all around, and we went down 2.5 inches in the front end. All right, nothing left to do now but to go riding. Our track is good, our new belt's in. I'm gonna be out, you'll probably see a video like tomorrow on it, if we can find where we're trying to go. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm not near done with this thing. I just needed it at least in a state where I could ride it for the weekend, and that's the state it's in now. But I got more plans for this thing. We're doing more modification to it. Don't worry. Thanks everybody for watching. You can join Patreon down below if you like what you see and you want to support the channel, and join everyone else who has joined up to support what's happening here. Subscribe if you haven't already. Merch store in the links below, and we'll see everybody in the next video. Bye everybody.